Good morning. It's time. I am back in the whites, climbing Mount Webster again, where I left off when I had to leave to heal up. The body is back. I'm feeling strong. And I'm ready to go. It's 52 degrees this morning. It is beautiful. Little drizzly, big chance of rain today. But I'm telling you, I'm feeling good. Not a huge day today. Gonna go about 10, 11 miles, something like that. Basically getting to the hut right before Mount Washington and then climbing Mount Washington first thing in the morning. So we'll definitely have some big summit opportunities here at the beginning of the presidential range today. But not Mount Washington until tomorrow morning. But oh my goodness, am I excited. 340 miles to go to put the Appalachian Trail in the bag for the year. What a year it's been. Lyme hitting. Having to lose about a month with the Lyme to come back to trail. Going a few hundred miles with still not being over Lyme and it just getting worse and worse to the point where I had to get off trail again for almost another month. But I have done a lot of testing. I've done a lot of medical tests, working with my doctor, and a lot of tests before coming back out here on how my body has recuperated and strengthened and got back to good, and I'm back to good. So I am ready to get this done. Woo! I'm back. Silver Cascade. Couldn't really cross in a lot of it. That log I didn't feel very safe on when I tried to get up on it. But I came over here upstream a little bit and found this spot. Couldn't really rock hop it. It goes up to about my knees right there. But I was able to put the water shoes on, throw my shoes over to this side and wade across it. Pretty cold water though, actually. Felt refreshing. Felt good, try to feed off and keep going. I heard it as I was coming up to it, like, man, that's rushing pretty good, whatever it is. I made it across though, safe and sound. So let me fill you in on what I'm doing here. Obviously, the last day I was out here, before getting off trail this last time to heal up, obviously I climbed Mount Webster. And then I went down Mount Webster the same way I came up, because I didn't know this trail and where it went that I'm on currently, because it would have been a lot easier if I came down this way, because I went all the way and then I backtracked 5 miles to the AMC. But I got about 4 miles in, and then a trail angel had picked me up, took me the rest of the way, and that's how I got to where I was going, because she had a trail angel who had thru-hiked in years previous. I believe I spoke about this on one of the videos around that time, explaining what was going on. But she had drove me to Portland, Maine, where I got transportation to where I was going to heal up. So basically I went up, then I came back down the same way, and then I walked 5 miles that way. So when you walk those, or 4 miles of the 5 miles. So when you walk 4 of those 5 miles, right around that same time, about 4.5 miles. So basically once I got in the car, which is why I probably didn't even know or wasn't paying attention because I was a passenger, that there was a trailhead there. And that trailhead is called Webster-Jackson Trail. It's not part of the AT, but that would have been a better way for me to come down. But since I came down, went up and came down, I hear more water. Oh, that's not bad. It was loud, but it was a small little stream. It was louder than what it looks. I thought it was like something bigger coming up in the distance. But anyway, pointed rocks though. Hold on, let me concentrate. I don't want to get wet. Anyway, so 4 of those 5 miles I walked, and then I got in the car, and then there's a trailhead up there called Webster-Jackson Trail. I know I just repeated that. I had to remember where I was in the story. So since I went all the way up Webster and all the way down Webster, I didn't want to go up Webster again. I have that thing in me that doesn't like to do the same thing twice, the same mountain twice, unless I absolutely had to. So obviously if that was the only way, I would do it. But since I've already gotten to that certain point, I checked out the Webster-Jackson Trail, and basically it's a loop, as my buddy Physics said when we were talking about it. It's like a lollipop. So it goes like this, and then there's a big circular part of the trail that connects Webster and Jackson in a loop. So I could literally take this trail all the way to Jackson, but I'm not going to do that because that would make me miss like a mile and a half, something like that, of the AT. So I'm going to take this all the way up to Webster, where I left off, and start from Webster then, and then start going to Jackson and the other presidentials. So obviously I'm just skipping. It's not even skipping. I'm just avoiding doing the same trail that I've already went all the way up and all the way down on, or a section of trail. And I'm going up this way just so I could see different views and different scenery. It's all the same mountain. So that's the plan, and that's why you see blue blazes. And it's pretty cool though that I'm getting to see parts of the trail I haven't seen instead of having to see the same thing again, even though Webster Cliffs is beautiful. And it would be worth seeing again if there's an alternate I wanted to take it to get me back to the same spot. The other cool thing about that is, because that trail is pretty much where I walked, I'm literally starting, even though it's not on the trail, I'm starting where I stopped walking that day and it got picked up. So that's kind of cool when you think about it, that there's a trailhead like right there where I got picked up. And I get to start from that same spot, walking back to start again from the exact same spot on the AT that I left off. So not as much backtracking as would have had to have been. So that's the story. And I'm rambling on because I had a lot of coffee. But climbing right now, about 800, 900 feet of elevation so far climbed. And basically the split comes up here pretty soon for Webster and Jackson, where I would go to the right to go to Webster and then continue on the AT, which is also the Webster-Jackson Trail. Between Webster and Jackson, that is the Webster-Jackson Trail. It merges with the AT during that section. So basically I'm continuing on this trail even when I'm on the AT. So there's the story. Now you know what you're looking at since you're right here along with me. So I noticed as I was looking at the map here, climbing up Webster to get back to where I left off, that it doesn't take me quite to the summit unless I backtrack like 0.2 miles, and I'm not going to do that because I've already been on the summit. But I realized that when I left the trail the last time, I had, gotten to the summit and then started talking about how I didn't know what I was going to do. And then I obviously started trying to make calls and stuff for shuttle drivers when I could have a signal, and I totally forgot to call it out that I had summited Mount Webster and put it in the bag. And that's a huge deal to me if you know me at all. And since this does not take me to the summit, it takes me right to the edge of the summit. And I'm not going to backtrack that 0.2 miles or 0.1, whatever it is. And then from there, it's 1.4, I believe, to Jackson. Anyway, I just want to make sure that it's on the record, even though it was a month ago. Still need to call it out. Mount Webster is in the bag. That wasn't a water crossing. That's just the trail. It is wet, and there is flowing water through a good portion of this trail today. But I will be above tree line here in a few miles, and will stay above tree line for quite some time, and definitely will not be having that issue quite as much. But for now, the water runs through it. The sun looks like it's trying to break through these foggy clouds up high here. I wouldn't mind that at all. When I get above tree line and stay there for a few summits, get some great views with some sunshine and dry out the tent and the outside the backpack. Have it double lined on the inside, so not gonna get too wet there, but I wouldn't mind drying the outside out. It's nice and cool, so could definitely use some sunshine. Won't hurt anything, and then it won't be as soaked. Might sweat more, but at the same time, we'll be drying out. So I'm not going to complain, is my point, if I get some sunshine for a few hours. Feeling strong still. Feeling wet, but feeling strong. Not too bad sweating at all. Like I said, it's in the low 50s, and the higher I get here, the more it cools down. So it's a win-win. All righty, continuing on. standing on the summit of Mount Jackson. Pretty socked in with clouds and fog up here right now. But you can see some views over here as those clouds are moving through pretty quick. And the sun is trying to shine through, so it might open up by the time you get to the open above tree line summit to summit area here in just a mile or two. Beautiful views up here, even though it's socked in. And the first summit of the day and since being back on trail, beating Lyme. Hopefully it stays beat. Mount Jackson is in the bag. It's kind of deep. Oh boy. Oh my goodness. Ugh. That right there is deep. This is what's called an alpine bog up above tree line. And that, oh my goodness, that was a good 2 or 3 foot down right there. Don't fall off the boards. Gonna go really slow here because it's very slick. Might be the slowest I've ever walked. I don't want to end up in mud to my nipples. Okay, might not be that deep. That last time I put my pole down though, I didn't even reach the bottom and it was up 3/4 of the pole. That was some deep mud there. It is quite wet up here, but that is the deepest mud I've seen in a bog, that's for sure. All right, back in tree line again. Doesn't go down much more. It's already dropped down a couple 100 feet coming down from Jackson. Going on to the next mountain. It pretty much stays the same up to the hut, and I don't think it really goes down much more after that. Excuse me. And then going on to, I believe it's Mount Pierce, if I remember right, is the next mountain. And from there, I believe it's all above tree line up to Mount Washington and possibly beyond. But like I said, I'm not going to be actually going to Mount Washington till in the morning, be staying at that hut, even though I'll probably get done early afternoon, just because of where the next, I don't know. That's the plan. I might change my mind once I get there. Depends on what time I get there and everything. But anyway, these alpine bogs are fun. Pretty much all the rain is fun. All the water everywhere, the trail running with river. Oh well, continuing on. This here is the Mizpah Hut. Nice views off to the back. I'm gonna stop in here and get some water, see if they have any leftover food that they always offer to through hikers, if they have any, before continuing on. See what they got in here. A little bit of pancakes and coffee. So I got a little leftover pancakes that I ate just with no syrup or butter or anything, just a pancake. I ate it like bread, and a cup of black coffee. Had a business meeting and filled up on water and back on the trail. Not the friendliest of people. The one guy was kind of friendly when I got in there, but then I said something about water and they all just ignored me. And then I said, have a nice day as I walked out. And one of the three went, You too? Okay then. Not in the South. What can I say? But back on the trail, I only got about 4 more miles, I think, to where I'm going. But I think I have 3 or 4 summits during that time. So I don't know how long it's going to take me. Not a whole lot of elevation, 1,400, I believe, in those 4 point something miles. So might be pretty easy. Don't know. Once you get up there, I guess. In the presidential range, you know, above tree line pretty much the whole time, I think. So, and then if I stop in the Lake of Clouds hut, I think it's called Lake of Clouds. Might have that wrong, but that's about 5,000 feet up. So obviously still up there in the air, and another 12 or 1,300 after that to the summit of Washington. So that'll be in the morning. So hopefully I'll be able to get a spot there. That was the first time I've got in a hut. I usually just walk right by them. So it's pretty nice seeing the bunks. It's a smaller one, I think. The one, Lake of the Clouds or whatever it's called, there at Mount Washington, that one is 90 people, I believe, that they can put in the bunks, but have to be reserved. And then they have the dungeon where they could put like 10 or 15 thru-hikers and then possibly do a work for stay. I'm hoping I get there early enough where I could do that. That way, do an hour or 2 of work and be able to stay and eat at no charge. That would be great. Since it's in my best interest to stay there anyway. So still chilly out here, probably 45, 50, I would say right here. And now that I'm not sweating, definitely feeling it a little bit more, or the heat of my body is not going, you know, climbing up. But I'll be climbing here in a little bit, I'm sure. Going up to Mount Pierce and onward. All right, continuing on. I'm currently putting my tail between my legs and walking back towards the hut. Right before the hut, there was an intersection, part of it going off that way, part of it going this way, which goes to the hut. And it said hut 200 feet. And somehow, I don't know, I assumed, stupidest thing you could do is assume. I assumed that it was the side trail to go to the hut and you had to go 200 feet. So I turned back after I left the hut and went back to where that intersection was and turned going the other direction from where I came. Guess what? I found out about a quarter mile down the road, that was the wrong trail. I'm like, why is there a blue blaze there? There should be a blue blaze here on the Appalachian Trail. So now I'm going back towards the hut because apparently the AT goes right by the hut. And I was supposed to keep going instead of turning back to that intersection. Even fortune makes stupid mistakes. And here's the right trail coming from the Mizpah Hut. It's definitely a little more technical. It's not very technical at all, but more technical than that other trail I was on. That other one was kind of easy. I'm like, wonder why it's so easy. It's not usually easy on the AT and the whites. Oh, I cracked myself up. Anyway, climbing towards Mount Pierce now. And then I believe it's above tree line from there to the hut. So should get some great views. Getting some good views here already. Clouds are kind of breaking a little bit. Beautiful. standing on the summit of Mount Pierce. It is all socked in with clouds and fog. Might not be too many views up here today, as this just gets higher and higher as I progress through these next few mountains. It is beautiful though, nonetheless. Wasn't too bad of a climb up here, to be honest. And Mount Pierce, even though socked in, is in the bag. I'm not sure what happened here, but the trail was flat and hardly any rocks for a few feet, if nothing else. I know that won't last very long, but that was fun for the 30 feet it lasted. Oh, look, a little bit more. Being up over tree line or right at tree line, I guess has its advantages right now. Do start climbing again. Don't know, remember the next summit, but do start climbing here pretty soon for that one. I don't think it's going to be flat then. It's really hard to climb on flat ground. Oh, I wish these clouds and fog would roll away. I'd love to see these views, but it is what it is. At least it's not raining, so that's the positive thing right there. Still wet though, because everything is just soaked. They've obviously gotten a lot of rain here lately. The trail's pretty much wet everywhere. The mud is super deep in spots, and the trees are wet and splashing me when I run into them. Still absolutely beautiful though, here above tree line. A river runs through all of it, it seems like. It was raining for a while. It stopped doing that. But it's still very humid, but still cool, so it's not overly hot or anything, just everything's damp and wet, and my feet are obviously soaked because I've been running through a river pretty much all day. Definitely a lot of rain. Even though it's all socked in, it sure is beautiful. No doubt about that. Looks like it might be clearing out a little bit for this summit. This is Eisenhower up here. It's what I'm climbing up right now. Just a couple tenths more of a mile to go. It's looking like it might clear out a little bit. It's still foggy and cloudy. They're moving pretty good, but there was just some blue right above it for a minute. So, might get lucky. Eisenhower that I'm climbing there. Little opening over here. Those clouds are rolling back in from this direction, which is still socked in. Looking kind of cool up here though. Might open up a little bit. Not sure which way. They both look like they could potentially be a trail. I don't know. This one looks like it might end. Nope. Got some stairs here. Okay, I see what it does. It comes this way and then cuts back the other way. All right, that makes sense. instead of climbing up that whole way up. Had to go over there to that little ladder. Beautiful rocks here, these red rocks. Gorgeous. Maybe it'll open up even more. Standing on the summit of Mount Eisenhower. It's all socked in with fog and clouds. Seems to be the theme of the day, but it is still beautiful. And it is the third summit of the day, the third presidential. And Mount Eisenhower is in the bag. Mount Monroe is a little scrambly at the top. Not too bad though, but I wasn't expecting this for my last summit of the day. Get up to the top and realize I'm not done. That was a false summit. Definitely a little scrambly. Definitely a little bit cold up here. Ooh, that wind's kicking in. It's the coldest of the day. Over 5,000 feet right now in elevation. Alrighty. I got some more rocks here. Okay. Trail's kind of hard to find here. Good thing the heads of Karens. Just aim for those. Fall summit number 2. Now's this flat area on the ridge, on the top, but not the top, but up the top. That is over there. And I think it's about another 100, maybe 200 feet up. So not sure if it's scrambly or not, but we'll find out. And it is getting cold, starting to sprinkle again. Even seen a couple snow flurries in there. Actually, you can start to see that now. That's where the summit is. Having a fun day regardless. It's a lot of cool, different climbing to bag these summits. And this is the last one. Then we'll be descending about 300 feet or so to the Lake of the Woods, or Lakes of the Woods, I think it is, plural. Hut right before Mount Washington, and tackle that one in the morning. Hopefully they have room for a fortune at the hut. Standing on the summit of Mount Monroe. Couple nice fall summits and some cold, almost icy rain falling right now in Stockton Summit again. But the fourth, I believe, I've lost count, of the day, Mount Monroe is in the bag. The descent coming down from Mount Monroe is not near as scrambly as going up. Looks like the trail's over here now. Kind of moves on you sometimes, like they have two different trails going. But anyway, a lot less scrambly, so a lot quicker going down. I can actually see the intersection up here, which it's just a little bit after that, before Lakes of the Clouds. I keep saying it twice because I don't know if it's lake or lakes, but I'm pretty sure I can even see it from here, but I don't know quite sure. Right there's the intersection, and then the trail goes over there, and that's where I'm headed to dry out, because I be wet, very wet. I do not have a cover on my backpack either, so it be wet. But here's the intersection that takes me to Lakes of the Woods Hut, which I could see from here already. See it over there? I don't know if you can, but this takes me to where I can dry out for the night and hopefully have a place to stay, whether it's in the dungeon or work for stay. It's about 2 o'clock. It started off drizzling off and on all day, so I didn't put a rain jacket on or anything, and then it just started raining real hard up there on top of Monroe. It is what it is. So my pack is soaked. I have the liner inside, so hopefully that'll help keep everything dry in there, or help keep everything dry, and so forth. But for now, I'm going to this hut. I'm gonna try to dry out. And Mount Washington, it's over there somewhere. And I'll be doing that one first thing in the morning. The highest summit of New Hampshire. And the highest summit of the Whites. I can't wait.